Hello and welcome to Subbies TV. Yes, we've made it to week 3. We've got the 3rd episode. Even though the weather was horrible on the weekend, we've still got stuff to report on. So we'll get straight into the episode and I'll introduce my panel. Now today we don't have slamming because that's what happens when you don't have funding. You have to kill people off like a dirty little drama, Grey's Anatomy. So we've got rid of slamming, but just for the week. But we do have Dan the Man from Beecroft. How are we, mate?
Ninja, mate, very well. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And
I feel like Anchorman
Jack.
up
Ninja, how are we?
I'm good, mate. Jack Sparrow. No?
Whatever you deem necessary, we can go with.
We'll just call you Jack, I guess. And Chatswood. Now, boys, both you, Chatswood, good start to the year.
Yeah.
How's the club feeling?
Look, we're in a really good place at the moment, Ninja. We had a board last year, got together and thought they wanted to go forward with the club. Gave myself and Luke Nisbet, 2 younger coaches, a go at taking the reins. Got a young player group in, most of them 20 to 25, and we're 3 from 3, and our Halligans haven't lost either. So
yeah, fantastic. And Dan Beecroft, obviously you've got a great start in Div 1, 2 good wins.
Yeah.
You've got Pats in the makeup game.
Yeah, we do. So, they're obviously we're 2 from 2, they're 2 from 2, so it's going to be a hit out. It's personal now. Well, they've mucked up our day at the races, which is supposed to be our wet weather weekend. So. Yeah. I'm not happy about that.
So Beecroft's coming for you, Pats. All right, boys. Well, before we get into it, we'll just throw to our hot segment with Emily Barker with the weekly wrap.
Thanks, Ninja, and thanks also for the lovely feedback. Well, the wild weather was on show over the weekend, putting a lot of Subbies games on hold. The heavy rains forced grounds to be closed, leaving a lot of teams out to dry. Sorry for the bad pun. These cancellations now mean teams need to make up the games after only 2 rounds. In Division 1, Knox and Hunters Hill were the only teams lucky enough to play, with Knox taking the win 31-5. The rest of the competition will utilise the wet weather weekend this weekend to make up their games. Looking at the table, after the Knox win, they join Mossman and St Pat's at the top. Division 2 went into hiding this week as the curse of the councils put a stop to all games. With round 4 scheduled for this weekend, it leaves the entire division needing to make up round 3 at a later date. Division 3 came out to play with only the Waverley and Uni game being called off. Hornsby weren't slowed down by the rain in their 53-23 win over Epping, while the Blue Mountains boys got away with a hard-fought win over St George 13-8. Looking at the table after the weekend's results, we have 2 teams still undefeated at the top, and Hills drops down to 4th, while St George, Epping and Waverley are winless going into round 4. Moving to Division 5, and only 2 games were cancelled, leaving the rest of the division to enjoy the cold, wet conditions. The weekend saw some of the front runners almost falter, with Sydney Irish and Maccabee coming away with close wins, while the Harlequins put on a show running away 57-0 winners over Lane Cove. Checking out the table, and we have 5 undefeated teams and 5 teams yet to have a win. But with half the division still needing to make up a game, I'm sure we'll see some big movements in the table over the coming weeks. Finally, in Division 6, we had 3 games played over the weekend, 2 of which were nail-biters. Chatswood kept their unbeaten run going in a fierce 26-24 win over Terry Hills, while Sydney Grammar Old Boys escaped with a 7-point win over Dundas. Looking at the table, and Chatswood and Sydney Grammar lead the way, with the high-scoring Clovelly side not far behind. A slight gap separates the rest, though the majority of teams still have a game or 2 in hand. Well, that's it from me. Back to you, Ninja.
Thanks for that, Emily. Awesome segment. Great work. Even though I write the script, some great puns in there.
But I've got to say, I am thoroughly enjoying that segment. I was the Beecroft boy who wrote into you and said that
you were the Beecroft boy.
That was me.
That's embarrassing. Anyway,
hey, nice to see some female talent on the show.
I agree. I think we've had great comments. So
it could do worse, absolutely.
That's right. Well, thanks, Emily, again. We love you on the show, and I think all the boys obviously do as well. All right, so looking at some of the scores she's highlighted, obviously Div 1, Knox, the only team to get up and the only team to play over the weekend against Hunters Hill. Div 2, they didn't play at all because, I don't know, they don't like rain. Looking at Div 3, some pretty easy wins for most teams. The closest sort of coming between the St George Blue Mountain boys. What's your thoughts on those boys?
Some big scores looking at Div 3. It was surprising to see that they were just I mean, there didn't seem to be that many sort of tightly contested games.
Especially Hornsby getting up 53 to 23 over the Epping boys. I mean, Jackie, you were saying you know the Epping boys.
Yeah, I played there through 16, 17s. There's a few of them still through the higher grades now, but our Halligans played Hornsby's a combined Colts fours from them a couple of weeks ago, and I saw a couple games after hanging around. And they impressed me. They seem to have a lot of depth in their club. Even their third grade were just massive humans.
I mean, they're doing pretty well this year, Hornsby. So I mean, they've obviously got a strong side. They're undefeated. Yeah. So it's well done by Hornsby. But Epping yet to get off the mark. Come on, Epping, get there, boys. Moving to Div 5 again, some big scores, and then some close games. Some of the leaders, as Emily pointed out, almost. Lost their first game, Sydney Irish just escaping, Maccabee, etc. But yet the Halligans still managed to get up 57-0 against Len Cove. So Len Cove having a hard year.
Yeah, they're I don't know, they just haven't struck a break yet, have they?
No.
But Sydney Irish, actually, it was very interesting to see that, having seen them pile on the points. So in some of those early games, they really wanted to make their mark. So I don't know. Early, what were you gonna do? Round 3, injuries start to come into play already, and
obviously
it was, we had them in a trial this year,
right.
and they were very strong.
Yeah, and obviously the weather would have slowed everybody up. Well, apparently, 57-0. Len Cove, come on, dudes. All right, moving to Div 6. This is something you'd know more about, Jacko. Chatswood, you guys got a great win, 26-24. What happened? I heard there was a drop kick attempt.
That's a coach killer. I don't know if I'm still recovered from it yet. No, it was an interesting stint from one of our lads. Managed to tackle a touch judge, kicked the ball, got the ref in the head. Attempted drop goal and ended up a bit of a grubber, sort of at 45 degrees. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we got a penalty after the bell. Knocked it over. Our kicker had 1 from 6 before that, but when it mattered, 2 from 7. So
we need that footage. We want to see those after bell.
Yeah.
That would have been heart-stopping for you.
It was.
How did he tackle?
It was just a marking a kick over the sideline, and Touchy came off second best.
Was it your touchy, or was it?
No. I think it was an official touchy, so not belonging to either clubs. It's probably not the best.
Did you
way
get him?
to get
did
on
he
the
stay on the
official
field?
side.
You pulled him. You said that before the game. You pulled him.
Oh, just at the end, yeah. So he'd had enough of a colourful game, I thought. No, he's a good player though. He's a very good player. Just brain explosions in the wet. That's about it.
No, fair enough. Now you boys are set up. You guys have won 3 out of 3 now.
Yeah.
And you're looking hot to trot. Who's the team in Div 6 that you worry about?
Look, Terry Hills were really good. They were very similar to us. A bunch of young guys that seemed very well drilled. And I had a look at Clavelli's form going in.
Yep.
They got up 94-0 in round 1, and then I just had a quick look here. They lost to Terry Hills, gave us a bit of, it was 44-17 last week, I think. So we were, on a bit of a wary path this weekend, and then I see they've just got up 62-12.
Yeah, and it's again in the wet, but you've said Rockdale's been
struggling for numbers. When they played us at home, they had 1 reserve, and I mean they went the whole 80, but it makes it hard.
Oh, what do you do? Yeah, no, it's always difficult when you don't have numbers. And speaking of that, the other week I said that maybe Epping has been struggling for numbers, and God love them, they emailed me in to explain that lack of numbers is not their issue. They've just been running, they've been running a full 5 grades, Colts team as well, and they came up in the first 2 weeks against some red hot sides. But they, long story short, just about 6 weeks out from the start of the season, they lost their head coach, he couldn't commit anymore due to family issues. So they've had to change their whole coaching regime. So they feel that's one of the main reasons. They're going into the season.
They can definitely throw a spanner in the works. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean,
changing your dynamic 6 weeks out from round 1.
Well, know, being a coach yourself, it's hard.
It's very hard because you get suited to the way you coach. The players get suited to the way that you coach, and I mean the guys are in tune with us, the second grade coach, and it would be hard if you change.
Absolutely. Well, sorry about throwing that at you, Epping, saying that you are lacking numbers. Obviously you're not, but they think they're about around that round 4, round 5 they'll start clicking and they'll come in and get some wins. So we're backing you, Epping. We're on the bandwagon now. Looking at the games of the week, St Pat's and Beecroft still have game of the week for Div 1, which they are making up this weekend. Oh, right. Beecroft, do you think you can get over them?
Absolutely.
Oh, confidence. Yeah. All right, well, we'll just move to Div 2 then, sure.
Yeah, just go. No, look, We're definitely going to have, this will be the test of our mettle very early on. Everyone knows we're a light pack, and so far up against Balmain, up against Hunters Hill, our fitness and everything that we've been doing over the pre-season is
So that's been it. The fitness has got you over the line most games, you think? Being able to outlast those bigger guys.
Yeah, I think so, and I mean they certainly haven't. I mean, if you look at the scores and where we were at half time in each of those games, they've never come easily. You know, getting out into a lead, it's always been just grinding them down.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I think now, with a few big boppers, you know, I know I've got a sizable opponent out on the wing.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a real test of our first up strength. I think that first 10, 20 minutes.
They're a big club. I played 3 or 4 years at St Pat's myself, and there's a lot of size in that club.
Oh, there is. They're all massive, let's be honest. From right through their grades. It doesn't matter what grade you play, they're huge dudes and they play physical rugby, and yet they've still got speed across the park as well, somehow.
I love the mixture. I love the mixture of accents as well. It's great.
Multicultural club. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. So I still think you're going to find it hard to get over Pats at Pats, but I think that's going to be a great game. Looking at Division 2, we've got Petersham and Newport selected as the game of the week. What are our thoughts, gentlemen? Petersham are a pretty strong side when it's their day. Last year they were relatively competitive, but you know Newport has been putting on some.
Where are they playing?
At Petersham.
They're a club on the rise.
So you know Newport yet to get a win, but you know so. Could be a close one.
Yeah, no, look,
I'd lean to Petersham, I think.
So would I.
From what I've been hearing, they seem the rumblings around. Everyone hears about everyone else's club, and they seem to be a club that's moving up and up. So
sure. Petersham, there you go. They're picking you for this week, guys. Blue Mountains versus Hawkesbury Valley. This is going to be a cracker. I'm a big fan of the Blue Mountains boys. They sometimes have come out to do the Halligan's games with Mossy.
Yeah.
And they bring their port and whatever else they like to drink. But I think the Blue Mountains boys they're going to really start hitting their straps and taking some big wins.
You're not knocking port, so I just have to...
just have to clarify
that. It's a fine rugby tradition.
Do I look like I have hair on my chest? I can't drink that stuff.
It's a cricket match here. It's 11 aside,
that's right.
So don't worry. It's all good.
I'll agree with you. I'll go Blue Mountains for that. Especially they had a hard-fought win last week over at St George, I think it was, 5 points.
Yeah, I think so. And given that it's at home, I think the Valley boys might find it difficult. But the reason it's game of the week is it's going to be a close one.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Moving to Div 5 now. This I'm assuming they're going to be playing this week for the wet weather catch-up is the Redfield Old Boys and Roseville. Redfield, I mean, Club of the Year last year. They had a shock loss against, shock loss. Maccabees a great side, but you know, to have their dream run come to an end. But you know, anything can happen on your day.
Exactly. Look, now that 43 game streak it's broken.
Yeah, 40,
maybe the
44,
floodgates are open. You never know.
maybe. It's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, Roseville, just looking at the table there, they're right next to each other. They've had 2 wins. Yeah.
Who knows?
That's true. Who does know? We won't know until this weekend.
Until next week.
Very
That's
observant
exactly
there,
right.
Very observant. Now moving to Div 6, we've actually given you guys the game of the week, and you guys have.
This week coming up, we have Burraneer down at John Dwyer Oval at Carringbar. So, it'll be an interesting game. Travel always comes into it. I think, and especially Chatswood to Burraneer. You know, a long way. And I noticed they played Sydney Grammar Old Boys, who I think got up in the end last year in Div 6, and it was only 12-5. So you can't take anyone for granted.
Given that they've only played the one game so far.
Yeah.
That was a loss, but I mean they
12-5 to the defending premiers.
They've got to start up, and then to knock you guys off who are at the top of the table would be a
good scout.
They'll be hungry. They'll be hungry for it.
Scout.
Very much so.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, that's game of the week, gentlemen. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
The Bunker Studios in the heart of Sydney's CBD is a unique production space that specialises in producing online video content. Your audiences are 5 times more engaged, and they are 85% more likely to buy products and services when you have video on your site. So whether you need small video campaigns or want to produce a live event that can interact with all your database, contact the Bunker Studios or visit our website.
Well, we're back and welcome to Subbies TV episode 3. Thank you for joining us. I'm joined here with Jack from Chatswood and Dan from Beecroft. Thanks, lads. Now, panel question for this week is about under 85s. Now, you gentlemen don't look like you play under 85s.
Oh, yeah. What are you trying to say?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just
No, you're
taking a
100%
stab.
right.
I'm taking a stab. No, they've cancelled it this year. There's not enough teams that are playing. They've put their hand up. Only 2 teams put their hand up, Wales and Hunters Hill. I mean, it's a great competition. It's a good thing for those guys that just want to play some footy, but they get smashed week in, week out. Guilty. I mean, Beecroft have been involved for years. What do you think? Why isn't Beecroft putting their hand up this year, for instance?
It just sort of, I suppose it came down to the fact that a lot of our younger players, a lot of our Colts were making up the under 85s. And we're lucky enough actually that we've got the numbers in Colts this year that we decided to put our second Colts into 5th grade.
Yeah, right.
So we're sort of playing it that way, and I guess when it came down to the 85s, we sort of seen that there were a few that weren't going to be. We knew Mossman would definitely be in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we just sort of.
No one wants to play in a 3-team comp. You know.
No, that was it. We were a bit of a sheep in that one. We just sort of went with the rest of everyone else. And
I guess the other thing is a lot of clubs. It was an issue last year. I know that they don't want their first grade guys getting injured. And they've got first grade and second grade guys that want to play under 85s. You've got this balance where you've got guys that want to play, but you've got the coaches that don't. I mean, from a coach's point of view, how would you feel if you had 3 or 4 of your first grade guys going, I want to go play under 85s?
And you don't want it, exactly, you don't want to be in that situation where you're trying to field your regular grades and that is impacted upon by 85s, because you don't want to say, well, we're going to have to start forfeiting 1 or 2 games here in our bottom grade, or and then guys getting pushed up into the mid-level grades at from 85s at the expense of the rest of the club.
No, it's a hard thing. Numbers, obviously, when you need more clubs involved, you need something like 8 or 10 for it to be a competitive comp, and you need numbers each week. But it's one of those things I always find it hard for coaches that. At what line do you dictate when a player can and can't play? That's
right, exactly. I mean, at Subbies Rugby level, I mean, how much, as you said, how much can the coach dictate that? Because where you're going to get those guys who are wanting to play and are talented enough to be in your first and second grade.
What if it was a summer comp? What if they changed it to a summer comp and you played it, sort of more of a less halves or something like that? Do you think that would be more feasible to people?
I think so.
And you're still keeping your blokes match fit over the summer, but it's, guys like the seasonal aspect of sport, I think. They don't want to have to go
I know, we get it.
40 weeks out of 50
you get guys
playing rugby.
Playing cricket, you get guys playing baseball and
and working.
Hockey, ice skating.
Yeah.
That's right.
Huge in summer. Massive. All right, guys. Well, it's obviously not playing this year, which means Wales are going to keep the trophy. So whatever. Sucks to be you guys. We'll move straight along to Media Madness now. We've got some great photos sent in this week. Here's the first one. It's actually a screen capture from Beecroft Rugby Club. Now, this is a dig at me for picking Hunters Hill over Beecroft as a dark horse, and your good mate Angus there has called me a stupid ranger.
Stupid ranger, yeah. But there's a reason we call him Simple Gus.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. I think the word you're looking for was ranger, and I've said it before, that's our word.
Yeah,
anyway,
the cowboy hat and the misspelling was a bit of a clue. But
Tim Minchin's got a song about that, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think we've mentioned that on 2 of the 3 episodes.
Sorry, Gussie.
Moving on, we've got a wet weather shot from the weekend. I think this is the Knox Hunters Hill game. Look at that. That's just downpour.
Yeah, bring your snorkel gear.
That's it.
Absolutely. We've got a photo sent in actually from some of the Wales boys. They weren't playing, so Hawaiian shirt day up at the local pub. So that's a great one.
To celebrate the good weather.
That's brilliant weather. Why not? Beer and punting.
Yeah.
Not that we're advertising that on this show.
It's a shame you can't see the grass skirts underneath the table.
All right. I see where you're going there. Thanks for the dig. We've got what we believe is the Subbies IT.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe that's Timmy Richards.
That explains a lot, actually.
Timmy Richards doing the Twitter account. He's fixing it up. Now, guys, this is the next thing we've got. This is fantastic. This is a lookalike that's got sent in. So we're actually going to play a bit of a video here, and we're just playing it here.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
And beautiful voice by this guy. This is from The Voice. Doesn't he look similar to our Epping Ram? Look at that.
Wow.
Mate, that is...
He is, I wonder if he can sing as well, but that got sent through to me, and I just thought that was a dead ringer.
Is someone? Yeah. This is. I mean, that is. That,
He's up there.
When it comes to doppelgangers, that is close to a dead
Look,
ringer.
I think our Halligans have Epping on Saturday, so if I see Seal down
round
at
the home.
Somerville, I'll know what's going on.
Oh, man.
If he's hovering around protectively
Yeah,
around
that's
one
right.
player, going don't touch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it was well sent in. Thank you for that lookalike. Now, guys, we've got the boat race segment, which everyone's been loving, and I only started it last week, and Mossman, of course, were the first one we sent in, and they were at the top. They've already, I can tell you now, they've been knocked off the top. Week 1, we had 2 videos sent in. So here's the first one. This is Redfield Old Boys. So, you know, they had a slow start. This was their newies versus a family, actually, a heap of brothers and the dad. Now, I timed it to the 5th person. They had 6 guys in the race here. So, as you can see, their 5th guy is almost getting it down there. But not quite as fast as you expect. And their time came in at 31.2. I gave them a penalty, 2-second penalty for spillage. As we all know, that's the rules that we made up last week.
Now, I wanted to ask about these spillage rules because what
constitutes spillage? Is that a couple of drops on the top of the head?
Start? I know you've opened up a can of worms as soon as you bring it in.
It is a can. How long's a piece of string?
Exactly.
But I think spillage, from my judging of it, I think the spillage is if we see excessive coming down there, but not so much it'd have to be a heap when you're pouring it on the head. But I think excessive coming down the side or
the Fu Manchu.
Dribbling it while you're
Fu Manchu. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I see as excessive spillage.
But if it breaks and then they start
if it's
spilling
a dunk,
again.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, is there a spillage every time? Like, do you get 2 seconds and then he's gone again?
If one guy spills 3 times, the poor bloke gets 6 seconds, or.
No, I think it's. I determine
just-
if
it's
there's
just
excessive, because that then becomes excessive spillage, which is a cancellation.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm glad we clarified that for
no,
everyone out there. So if you want to send in your boat race, that's the rules.
They're the
And
rules.
5 guys. Do it with 5 guys, because that's what we're timing it on. Now here is the weaponry effort by the Hawkesbury Ag guys.
You were telling me about this.
They got counted in by one of the locals, maybe, I'm not sure. But this effort here is awesome. These guys are just eating it. They're ripping through, whipping through.
I think you have a look at old mate third on the right there. He's had a bit of experience.
sunglasses and the
Yeah.
But they get through.
Done that before.
There it is.
the
They
balance.
have just absolutely
Annihilated it.
destroyed that. Now, they came through with a very good time.
That was Hawkesbury Ag's college.
Hawkesbury Valley.
Hawkesbury Valley.
Yeah, Hawkesbury Valley. Now, they came through with a
Hawkesbury
weaponry
Ag college.
time of 18.9, because I gave them a spillage penalty as well, because 2 guys had a bit of that thing going on. But so we'll just quickly have a look at the table now. So you've got Hawkesbury Valley at the top, 18.9, followed by Mossman with Redfield Old Boys. So that's the time to beat, 18.9 with spillage. That's with a spillage penalty. So those guys were just...
They'll be filthy. They'll be coming back to...
they'll send
They're
going to send in another one.
Yeah.
I reckon
There'll be a
we'll
few
see
clubs looking to show their wares, I think, a little bit.
Will we see the sub-10s? 10 seconds. Come on. Get involved.
You've put it out there. I
You
don't
have.
know, but...
It becomes like the 4-minute mile, And as soon as one will crack
One
it,
guy
then
breaks
everyone will
it.
come through.
Yeah, everyone's going to do it. I want to see sub-10s, subbies. Come on, send them in. But remember, if you have any footage, photos, or those boat races, send them in to us at rugbystuff@subbiestv.com.au. We love receiving that stuff. And also, if you have any club announcements, which is a great segue, club announcements now. Mossman's Lady Day is Lady Day? Lady Day?
Lady Day, singular.
Yeah.
Wow, lucky girl.
Mossman's Ladies' Day, we single out one woman and wow. Mossman's Ladies' Day is on the 4th of May. and it's shaping up to be an absolute cracker. They've already sold over 200 tickets. They've got prizes and everything, so it's going to be a big, big day. And so, yeah, get involved. If you want to buy your tickets, go to the Mossman Rugby website to your Lady Day. Subbies rep side last night. Subbies rep side had a trial last night, and here's a couple of photos actually from that. So just the boys warming up, and we even got some footage. A little bit of footage there. Not too much going on, but you know, just showing the boys. That rep side, of course, is going to be announced later in the week, I believe, and then training starting within a couple of weeks.
Right,
So,
okay.
did you have any Chatswood boys go for that?
No, we didn't actually. It wasn't sort of on our radar
Fair
for
enough.
this season. Probably
But
next year, I'd say
building
we'll
block?
be giving it a
Yeah.
shot.
So it's great effort. When you're talking about huge humans, go to the rep trials because Jesus, they were massive. So we're looking like having a great side this year. Remember that on Fridays, Holdings Bits goes out, so you can see all the greatest videos, pics, tweets, and he also talks about some fancy stuff like broken bones, etc. So make sure you tune in to Holdings Bits every Friday. And of course, if you want to get behind this show and become a sponsor, remember we are always happy to hear from you, and you can contact us at info@subbiestv.com.au. The more sponsors we have, the longer we have this show, the longer we have this show, the longer I get to entertain you. So get behind us, people. We want to hear from you, and a big thank you to those clubs that already have as well. And if your club wants to jump on board, please contact us. Now, boys, last thing before we wrap it all up quickly, Dark Horse. We're doing Dark Horse this week as Div 6.
Yep.
So we've got a couple of good games. We've got Manly Saviours and Clavelli, pronounce that right, Terry Hills and the Dukes, Burraneer and Chatswood, and Sydney Grammar Old Boys versus ICNS, and Rockdale versus Dundas Valley. Who is your dark horse there, Dan?
Ninja, I'm going to have to go with Rockdale, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Copped a couple. I'm with you there. Copped a couple of big losses just with a lack of numbers, but I know that Dundas have had the same sort of problem, and I think both of them will be after very hungry for a win.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm going to go the dark horse of ICMS.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they had a good win last
They
week.
gave
and
us a very good
They
run
gave you
for our
guys a
money
good run,
in round
and
one.
I think I reckon they'll knock off Sydney Grammar. So that's my dark horse.
Yeah, nice.
Wear it. Awesome. All right, boys.
Happy
Well,
to
that's
go.
it for the show this week. So I'm going to have to thank you guys and move on. Dan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
Best
Thanks for
luck
having
this
me.
weekend.
Thank
Give
you.
Pat's Hill, and we'll be seeing you later on in the year. And thanks, Jack, for coming on.
Ninj, always a pleasure.
And hopefully Chatswood keep winning. We love hearing
Touch
that they're
wood.
winning.
Yeah.
Touch wood.
Can you go undefeated this year?
Who knows? We're a shot.
I've
We've got a
probably just-
decent squad.
I've just-
You
It's
might
been
don't
put
throw
out
the
there.
kibosh on us.
I've
though
just
now.
jinxed you. Anyway, guys, that's it for Subbies TV this week. Until next week, enjoy your rugby.